Well, hello. Good to see you guys. This is Jim Becker Live. Glad you guys are here today. I wanted to touch base with you guys in regard to the 2021 trends and predictions. And there's a lot of cool things going on. The stimulus package coming out, vaccinations. It sounds like Walgreens, CVS, and Osco Drug has vaccines. So make sure you check that out and see if you can get in on the vaccine business. Also, I'm not a financial advisor at any means, but I do some trading. So I have 20% of my portfolio in cryptocurrency. And I just want to say, get ready because we're going on an increase on cryptocurrencies. So if you followed along on the news that we presented, I don't know, 3 months ago in regards to Moderna, Moderna was, when we first brought up, I think $56 a share. I've got to go back and take a look at some of those LinkedIn Lives that we did. But if you did follow along on that journey, you would see that today, Moderna is back up to $166 a share. So it did go up to about 170, and now it's back up there. So if your dollar cost average is going down and then back up, you're doing pretty darn good for yourself and your family. Some other cryptocurrencies to watch is Litecoin, LTC-USD. Check that one out. Another one, Bitcoin, BTC-USD. And the other one is Ethereum, ETH-USD. And then we also have a Dogecoin. Now, Dogecoin, you got to go to Coinbase or something else like that. Some of these cryptocurrencies you can't really do on certain platforms, so you have to change. A good one is Webull. So if you want more information on that, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and put a little note inside the comments as soon as this is up, and go ahead and click on that. And if you click on that trade, I believe, or on that link, it'll give you some free trades as you go forward in there as well. And Dogecoin is DOGE-USD. So I have a feeling that Ethereum coin is, let's see, I got in earlier, but today it's at, where is it at? Taking a look here. Ethereum is at $1,637. $1,637. I have a short-term price target on that of about $2,000 and a long-term for this year anywhere between $25,000 to $75,000. So take a look at that. If you're not in crypto, you should be. At least some of your portfolio. I would take 5% of your portfolio, even if it's 1%, and put that in there. I'm doing 20% right now, and as the economy gets worse, or we go ahead and get into stagnation or deflation or inflation, I'll be putting more and more of crypto currency. That'll go up to 30%, 40%, 50%, and we'll see how that goes. So that's what I got for you today. And remember, I'm not a financial advisor at any means. This is just for entertainment. And I'm just giving you guys some directions. But today I wanted to really examine some predictions that I have for 2021. And there's some of them, and maybe a little beyond there. And there may be some strong trends going on throughout the past couple of years that we want to take a look at. And I just want to talk about them as well. Where I think they're going and how I plan to act on this as well. The topics and trends that I wanted to cover today are green energy, automation age, cryptocurrency, real estate, and just a little bit of the stock information. I gave you a little prelude to that. You know, with the new administration, with the Democrats in there, we've got some new understanding between bipartisan with the Dems and the Republicans that we're at 50-50, and our vice president can step in and take care of any tiebreakers. So we'll see how that goes with a fully Democratic House and Senate and, of course, the executive branch. So I think things are going to be good. But, you know, Biden's been talking about really going after that green energy and that automation age. Right? It's going to be pretty interesting to see what this, what POTUS does with the whole cryptocurrency, especially with the Fed printing off so much money. So we'll see what happens in that. These are the areas that have made huge strides in 2021 so far, and we're only a month in, right? And I just want to talk about where I think we can expect the platforms to go here in the near future. So let's move on. Yeah, I don't think I had a slide for that. So let's talk about it. All right. So I'm sure most of you have noticed that green energy is going up and up and up. Notice oil is going down and down and down. So it's been a slow process, but every year it's becoming a more visible solution. And you can see it happening. And it's actually so viable also. Whether it's the wind, solar, hydro, these methods are being worked on and refined by some of the world's smartest people. And I give them credit. I mean, if we're not going to take care of our green society and making sure that we're doing what's necessary here moving into the future, what's going to happen to our kids and our grandkids as we leave this world and we leave it to them, right? So we have to leave it the way that we found it, or if not, better. Additionally, the incoming green tax that is going to be coming in is only going to push this further along. I mean, some of the big oil companies are going to be taking hits in billions of dollars. They're going to be having to take some change somewhere, and it's not necessarily going to be easy for them either. And this is where regulations come in and really change some things, and sometimes it causes a muck. So these green energy companies, the ones that not too long ago were launched out of the boardrooms, are going to take on some huge market shares. So we really want to take a look at that, and it kind of reminds me of how Blockbuster once was an opportunity to buy, and I bought that stock. It was great, and I can remember, dating and going to Blockbuster, picking up a couple of cool movies to watch and then hold on to. But Blockbuster had an opportunity to buy Netflix, and they didn't. And we know how that all turned out, right? Netflix, my goodness, they're one of the FANG stocks, which is fantastic. And no matter what you think about all of this, it's going to happen. And life continues to move on. I know most of us are cooped up in our houses, and we're trying to make things work there, and we can see that our life has changed a little bit, and we're spending more and more time with our wife or husband and our children. So either that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing for you guys, right? And you're going to see how that life has changed a little bit. I know last year I did about 15 years worth of honey-do lists, and really got some things done in my house that really needed my attention. And no matter what you think about all this, it's going to happen. You can either be prepared or you can be a victim. So choose. Are you going to be prepared or are you going to be a victim? I choose to always be prepared as best as possible, and I don't live in this victim world. Half of the U.S. states are already at or below solar grid, right? Partially, right? So which is when it becomes more economically viable to install solar panels. So the return on investment is there. I mean, here in Chicago, mostly we've got snow, and the sun doesn't really come right above us, right? It's not the best place. You need to be more in the Sun Belt or down in the South. I mean, if I was in Arizona or Florida or Alabama, even Georgia, I'd be definitely having solar panels on my house. But here, the cost, it's not really viable for us at this present time. Then if we want to take this to the next level, we can look at how can you and I have our own mini solar power plants, right? I mean, really, we could build a plant in our house with our solar and then be able to resell that as well, or store that. Think about that. How times are going to be changing. We weren't talking about this back in the 80s or 90s. Definitely not in the 70s. So solar power plants are going to become a thing here moving on into the future. There are people out there right now selling energy back because they're not using it, and they're getting it more now than they did before. Then, if you combine all of this with the electric vehicles, and the future is poised to look very different than it is currently. The old ways of are dying out, and as always, it's either adapt or die. I mean, back in September, they talked about the new Tesla Model S coming out and the plaid version, and I put my order in immediately in September. So that car should be here March or April. So I can't wait to hang up my Audi for a Tesla, Model S plaid, a car that does 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds. I mean, goes 200 miles per hour. I mean, I don't know where you're going to do that here around Chicago, but the 0 to 60 sounds pretty exciting to me. I'll have to tell you that. I mean, that's even faster than my Corvette. My Corvette does 11 flat, 0 to 60 in like 3.2 seconds. This car will do 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds, and we'll do a quarter mile at 154, where my Vette does it a quarter mile in 121. And that's just unbelievable. And in 9.4 seconds in a quarter mile. That's crazy. So you can get so much more torque on an electric vehicle, and it also goes 500 miles. So I'm adapting, right? I'm not going to just hang it up and say, forget it. That's not going to happen. Bull, things are happening quicker and quicker now in this new age, now that the internet is there and it's viable. It truly is. And I mean, what's going to happen when everyone has all the energy that they could ever need? I don't know about this, but it should be interesting as we move forward, especially on these solar plants. So granted, I think we have some time until we're at that level, maybe 10 years, maybe 5 years. But back to the point, there's a huge opportunity in green energy right now, and the money is going to be there no matter what. It is certainly a smart area to invest in, right? There's certain stocks right now. Let me just double check. Right now, a great stock to buy and get into would be IDEX, Ideanomics, IDEX. Today alone, it's up 15 cents. It was up like 25 cents. It's up at $4.50 per share. So let's, I keep going back and forth, but let me tell you, it's exciting. So, all right, let's take a quick dive into everything as we move forward. The transformation of the digital age into the automation age, right? So if you weren't in the digital age, you should have been. Now we're going to get into the automation age. So for us in transportation, I call it the DFM, the digital freight matching. And right now we're at about 10% of everything being digitally matched. My goal this year is to get to 20%. And we're working on strides to get that even to 50%. And then we got the AI. So how do we get that AI, that artificial intelligence into everything, especially with this automation age as well, right? So we're using robotic processing automation here at our company. And, you really have to look at the flow logics of everything, what is the best way of moving into every single thing that you do and handle. So we are well on our way. We really are, especially with the automation age. And we've been there for some time now. So automation and AI are incoming in a big way. They definitely are. And taking out a lot of the middleman opportunities. So you're going to see some of the intermediary situations be disintermediated, right? So just think about that. Say that 10 times live. So as we move forward, you just have to understand it's going to change. All sorts of tasks that are currently involving humans are turning into APIs, applications, and just lines of code. I mean, this is where my life as a CEO has been spending, really adapting to that whole world, right? So as I'm working on APIs, applications, and these lines of code, I'm sharing it with you and saying this is where we're at. And if you're not doing this right now, DM me, let's talk about it, because you should be. Now, I don't think we're going to see a monumental society changing shifts in 2021. No, not by any means at all, but it's moving fast. And if you're not aware of it, if you're not hearing it, if you're not hearing it here or somewhere else or reading, then you're missing out on a huge opportunity. There are countless companies popping up that offer these kinds of streamlines solutions. So really take a look at this. Like MicroStrategy is a great one, and that's something that I've bought and held and sold and bought and hold and sold, and I mean, great. And he actually has taken all of their cash and bought Bitcoin with it. Not only that, he's brought a conglomerate of all of his friends that are also CEOs of companies, and they're talking about how they should be transferring their monies on hand on their balance sheet and putting them into cryptocurrencies. So there's a prediction for the future. As you see Bitcoin right now, where are we at on Bitcoin? We're at $37,000. And last week, I want to say that it went down to 26,000, 27,000. And I hold Bitcoin, and it's done quite well for me. If you're not in these cryptocurrencies, even just a little bit, take 1% of your net worth and put it in it, just so that you're prepared for what's coming up into the future. Okay? Once again, I'm not a financial advisor. And we have already seen huge changes in 2020. I mean, really, I can't think of any other year that so many changes took place. I mean, think about businesses before COVID and after COVID. I remember being at Food Shippers, and we had an economist going over the economy and what's going to be happening. And we were talking about just, what just happened with the recession that we just came through. And as he's talking, the market dropped 1,000 points in the middle of March. And I said, what about the market just dropping 1,000 points? Well, it might just be just something. No, the whole market crashed. Like, that's crazy. And then all of us and businesses had to figure that out. A lot of my friends that own restaurants are trying to figure it out and or closing their doors. We're probably going to see 20% of businesses close their doors in 2021 if they didn't already close their doors in 2020. There's major changes that had to be adapted in technology in 2020. I mean, think about this. Chipotle wasn't delivering burritos to your office or your home. In 2020, they adapted quickly and made that happen. Not only them, the local restaurants that you and your family goes to on a regular basis, they're now making deliveries and or their pickups outweighed their dine-ins. Think about that. Talk about adapting and things changing. And now they said we can't handle it. We need 20 people to take all these orders. So they said we need to get plugged in on our websites to go ahead and take these orders automatically, and then we can go ahead and place them. And then, hey, we're cutting it off. No more orders. And being part of that, if you're not seeing all of these changes that are happening, with these changes comes the predictions of what will come. And since there's already been so many changes, it becomes a lot easier to make a couple more and get some automation in there as well. Another thing, we will see in 2021 a fully self-driving cars. I hope my Tesla is fully automated. Kick back, drive me there, let me do something else, let me relax. That would be fun. But when I talked about that ideation, let me see, let me just make sure. Ideanomics, stock symbol IDEX. They're working on all the technology to take buses so that they can be automated and then refuel themselves with new batteries. Like, think about that. Like, wrap your head around that for a moment and how that's going to change things throughout our whole world. I mean, really, a large-scale adoption of all of them, since we've already do have self-driving cars. My Audi drives by itself. It really does. But it's not there yet. I mean, you still need someone behind the wheel. Otherwise, you are going to hit something. Or it will stop. It'll stop if I'm not paying attention automatically, and it'll slow down. And then it'll start going again, which is great. But now, get ready, because you're going to start seeing that next evolution in 2021. And I can't even tell you what 2022 is going to be, but it's going to be crazy. it should be pretty interesting to see how the law catches up with all of this tech. And there's a lot of companies like Google and Amazon and so forth that have really put legislation through to try and get ready for this so that the law is not going to crap down on too much. So also with this, you will have the opportunity to turn on your car into an asset, right? Now imagine me buying my Tesla Model S, and then when I'm at home and I'm not using my car, I put it up and set it up so that it can go ahead and be used as a taxi and picking people up, and then it comes back and parks itself in the garage. I mean, think about that. I mean, we talked about the Jetsons when we were little kids, right? And how the thing would change, right? Or Back to the Future, how, you know, the Cubs were going to win the World Series in 2016, which they did, which is pretty cool. Was there for Game 7. It was awesome. Alex, how are you, buddy? I hope you're out there listening. Went there with Alex from AFN. It was great. He moved on since then, and my mom, brought my mom. I'm like, who do I take? I'm like, bring my mom, right? Not using your car at the moment? No problem. We'll have taxis going all over, and you can at least get some residual income coming in from your car being used at like 17 cents a mile. Think about that. 17 cents a mile compared to an Uber or a Lyft. What's that per mile? If you think about that and calculate that out, you'll understand. Just send it out and do some robo-taxi services. That's crazy. And we have some pretty big impacts on services like Uber. So, I mean, right now they're at like $54 a share, I think. But that's going to hit those companies if they're not adapting to this as well. A development in this I just saw today was Apple decided to partner with Kia and invest $3.6 billion into creating an Apple vehicle. Now, Apple's been working on this also. So, and Waze, they've been working on it as well. And so even Apple is getting into the space. They've got so much cash on their balance sheet, it's ridiculous. They've got to do something with it. And how about something that's going to return exponential returns? And of course, this will have our enormous impacts on shipping and logistics industry. Trust me, it's going to change drastically. Although it might take a bit more time before people are comfortable with a 50-ton vehicle roaring down the highway with no driver, right? I mean, just imagine that. There's 80,000 pounds of stuff without a driver. I don't feel that comfortable yet, right? And I've been in transportation since 1990. So let's take a look at that. It's going to be pretty interesting how we adapt and how we kind of shift into that slowly. We are also seeing sorts of industries use automation and AI. I mean, there's smart mining going on right now, automated checkouts, and so much more. It should be interesting to see how this all goes down. I mean, I'm glad to be part of this and just to see it and to be part of it, right? I mean, what happens when we have 2x as many people as we currently have right now than jobs, right? So if you think about that, like everybody should have a job right now, and they don't. Probably some sort of universal basic income, right? So you're going to hear about universal basic income, the UBI, will be needed. But that's a whole nother topic, and I could spend probably about an hour talking about UBI, universal basic income. So that might be something that we put on one of our weekly lives later on in the future. But Jim, what about all those out in the rural areas? What terrible internet connections they have and no signals, or the big telecoms laying new wire? Well, for that, there are satellite internets. So let me tell you, if you're not paying attention to all this, with SpaceX, we also have Amazon jumping in, right, with their Orbit Blue, and we also have Virgin Galactic, right, with now their space flights. So they're going to be flying next week. I think they're starting on the 13th is when the flight windows open. What we're doing is the satellite companies, they're creating these satellites that are going to be positioned all around the world for 5G so that everyone in the world can have access to this 5G. So it's going to be pretty interesting as that's going on. And that's what's going on right now and being launched into our orbit to really help with the 5G and the wireless internet connections. And it's going to be quite interesting. There's countless satellites that have been shot up into the orbit over the past year or so by Starlink, right? And that was funded by SpaceX, which is looking to offer speeds of 50 to 150 megabytes per second. And on a side note, they're expecting to go public soon. So I would certainly keep an eye out for that IPO that's coming out. And speaking of stocks, I want to talk about IDEX again. I mean, what a stock. I mean, just today they went from $4.35 up to, I think it was up to $4.70. So pretty interesting. I kind of touched base on that IDEX. Pretty cool. So before I go further into the stocks, I just want to remind everyone, you heard this twice, I think, I am not a financial advisor. I just simply follow news and the updates. I read a lot, and I'm relying on the information for myself and what I'm doing, but I'm relaying it to you guys. So IDEX, IDEX, great stock to get into. Take a look at it. The evolution and advancement of crypto coins. This is where I get excited. All these stocks that we talk about, let's go into something a bit more tangible like cryptocurrency, right? So you already know a plethora of information on crypto, right? So let's begin with Bitcoin. Bitcoin, they're only going to be able to produce 21 million Bitcoin. For each Bitcoin, there's going to be 100 million dissected versions of each Bitcoin that can be tendered out as currency, right? So there's Coinbase that you can utilize to hold and harvest this. And then there's also places that you can get interest. You can get interest of up to 8% on your Bitcoin. Where do you get 8% right now? Not many places. The one everyone knows is Bitcoin, and for good reason. Bitcoin has been going crazy over the past year, even in just 2021. I remember Bitcoin being at about 3,500, 5,500, 7,500, 10,000, then 12,000. It sat around there, and then all of a sudden it shot up really quickly to about 23,000, 24,000, and then it shot up to 40,000. Like, it started in 2013, and a lot of people got in, and people were buying pizzas, and buying pizzas with, I don't know, I think they were like 50 cents a piece, and they were buying pizzas. Could you imagine still having that Bitcoin that you paid 50 cents for, and how much it'd be worth now? Well, it'd be worth about $37,000 for each one. So hope that guy that collected that money for the Bitcoin kept that Bitcoin. So, well, I'm expecting much more growth this year alone, definitely breaching the 40,000. And remembering, reading back when it was just $2,000 or $20,000 was huge. Now, keep in mind, things do go up and they do come down. So, but for what we're talking about and beyond, what's going to happen with Bitcoin? I'm hearing it may hit $100,000 a coin this year, and it could, beyond, hit $1 million a coin. So Ethereum is another big one. I mean, right now, all the oil conglomerates are using Ethereum to transfer and pay for their oil. Ethereum coins are being used, not the US dollar, Ethereum. And that's huge right now. And you're going to see that really shoot up. And I'm guessing somewhere between 25,000 to 75,000 per coin, possibly this year. There's Litecoin, right? It's been right around 150. So you've got to, you got to kind of figure that one out if you want to get into that one or not. I have some. I have coins in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. So those are the ones that I'm really in. Dogecoin. So Cardano, Stellar, and there's JP Morgan coin. So let's talk about JP Morgan. Talk really fast, Jim. So with JP Morgan coin, right? So I don't know much about it, but they're coming out with their own coin as well. So the cryptocurrency is pretty nice. It's more secure, right? It's all blockchain. So which, you guessed it, is JP Morgan's crypto coin, right? So, and the countless others, some which seem to only exist for the fun of it, right? Like Dogecoin has a little picture of a dog. Kind of cute, right? Looking at your Dogecoin, I love it. The dog is just so cute on that. Another thing on the rise is crypto synthetics. So when you look at crypto synthetics, this is a whole nother breed, which are designed to mimic the value of the other assets such as gold or the US dollar. I mean, the US dollar is only really worth 90 cents right now if you follow along with that. So it's nice to watch, how the currencies are doing too, because those are going to be telltale signs of what's going on here in the near future. This gives investors the leverage to trade digital and traditional assets, all while staying in the crypto ecosystem. So the synthetics, I think, is going to become a huge thing in 2021. And if this is the first time you've heard about it, well, I'm glad I'm helping inform you. That's what this is. These shows are for entertainment and to inform you. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I'd just like to keep you in the now, and it's part of our network promise to really give back to the community, because you guys have given me so much. Really, you really have. And how I've learned a lot of my things is either going to school and or learning from my good friends that I'm good friends with in the transportation world and outside of the transportation world as well. I mean, prior to the creation of the synthetic product, only a select few had access to global financial markets. Now, everyone with a smartphone and internet connection can leverage these powerful investments as vehicles. They really can. This should shake up a lot, and I mean currently enjoying it. I mean, I'm enjoying the whole crypto and watching that go on. However, it is important to remember that crypto is still very new. I mean, look at how long it took for the internet to really evolve, right? It took 20 years before you could really, use it to the point that we're using it now. I mean, now we're in 30 years. So when you look at this, be cautious when you go through this. But once again, Moore's law, exponential laws, understand that it's going to go quicker and quicker and quicker. We're not going to be waiting 20 years for the crypto. I mean, it started in 2013, right? So what? We're waiting until 2023? That's going to be what, 10 years? I think that's going to be you're going to see a big change right there, right in 10 years. Absolutely. It's very, very new, and it's very volatile. So keep that in mind. So really make sure to investigate, then invest. Investigate, then invest. Don't just go off of what I say. You'll lose a whole bunch of money if you listen to everything I just say. Trust me. I want you to do your homework, do your due diligence, not the other way around. Don't just listen to Jim Becker and go do something. No, I don't heed that. I heed caution to that, okay? So in conclusion, I want you to just understand, and that covers some of the predictions and trends that I see that I'm paying attention to, right? And if I'm paying attention to them, I want you to see that as well, all right, as we move forward. So seeing that, that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. I hope you were able to learn a thing or two. If you've got one takeaway, that's fantastic. And maybe feeling inspired to do something for your own, right? Your own research. Maybe opening up your own Webull account and take some investments, right? And take your profits. Don't forget to take your profits and have rules. I have a rule: if I lose 5% of something, I sell it immediately. Take my loss, right? Lick my paws later. Okay, good. That's better than losing half of it or all of it. And then the same thing. Last year I had a rule: I make 20%, I sell. And this year I changed that a little bit. I'm making a little bit more than 20%, and then I'll sell. So it makes me hold. I'm holding. Hold it. So I'm holding a lot longer. So, well, just a reminder, I'm not a financial advisor. That's 4 times I said that. Probably said it 5. I just follow the news and keep you informed. So keep that in mind if you start diving into the stocks I talk about today. Listen, if you've made it this far, I'm going to ask you 3 favors. Number 1, click that like button. Just click it really quick. Go ahead, do it now. Awesome. Thank you. Second, there's a follow button. If you're not following me, follow me. Click the like button. That will give you the opportunity to be informed next time that I'm going live, and it'll let you know. And finally, if you really like this and you think that other people could get some wealth out of this or good information, hit the share button. Hit share. You don't have to type anything up there. Just hit share, and then that will post on so all of your friends can hear what you have to say, that you heard something good and brought it out. Give me some comments in the bottom too as well, like that if you could, and love to hear what you have to say. Okay, here, I've got some comments. We must be multitasking to survive in today's world, and specialization and strict rules. One, absolutely. Thank you very much for that. Also, the crypto money market is fascinating, but alien to me. I know it's alien to a lot of people. Don't feel alone. Not at all, Christina. You have to understand it is kind of alien, but alien is good. I love doing things for the first time, and I love learning what I don't know. And when you step out of that and you let ego go and you step out into the nothing, the no thing, as Eckhart says, you step out into nothing. You don't bring any of that BS with you. We bring all this BS with us, and we think we're supposed to know. Bull. You know, if I had my choice, I would change a couple things in our education system and bring some other thoughts as well as everything that they're already doing. Maybe be in school a little bit longer per day. I don't know. I feel that as parents, that's our responsibility to take the other things to inform them. Right? So let's go on and continue with what you said. Who is exploring the arena from an education perspective for those of us who want to play but are clueless? Listen, maybe I'll put together some series that will help you. Listen, do me a favor. I'm going to put a link in here right after I get off the live, and I'll put a little link in there. What's cool about that is you get like 2 free stocks when you sign up with Webull. Sign up with that. They have instructional videos on there as well, and I'll be making some myself. I'll start working on those now because I see a void and I need to fill it. That's how I feel. And then once you get that filled out, DM me and I'll kind of walk you through it, and I'll spend a little time on the phone with you. Okay? So DM me on LinkedIn on a message, and then we'll go forward from there. All right, Christina? Awesome. And you go by pronouns of she and her. I go by he and him. So that's cool. That would work great. Feeling fearless. Yes, you need to be fearless. I brought our executives on a fearless Becker retreat out in California, in Del Mar, California, in San Diego. And it was fantastic. Rented a beautiful, I forget how big the house was, but it was really expensive. And we went surfing and everything. We called it the Fearless Becker Retreat. So you need to be fearless. And far too often we take the things that are holding us back, the pains and things that held us back in the past, we put it in front of us and say we can't do it. I don't know anything about it. And then we just stop there and we fail. And I don't want you guys to fail. I want you guys to have the information, and let's move that forward and really grow together. Listen, I'm out. Have a good day. Bye-bye.